There's a garden inside you, and you've been starving it since the day you were born. It lives in the dark at the far end of your gut, trillions of tiny living things, and only one food reaches them all the way down there: fiber. Your ancestor, some many greats-grandmother crouched by a fire 40,000 years ago, fed that garden over 100 grams of fiber every single day. You? About 15 if you're average. A tenth of what she managed, which is why most of that garden is starving right now. So what exactly was she eating every single day that you don't? And why did the whole tribe quietly stop? Meet Justin, a Stanford caveman who went hunting for the answer inside people's guts and found something nobody saw coming. This is the one thing ancient humans ate every single day, explained. First, what even is fiber? Forget the cereal box. Fiber is just the part of a plant your body can't break down. The stringy stuff in a root, the tough threads in a leaf. You chew it, you swallow it, and unlike everything else on your plate, that fiber sails straight through your stomach without being digested at all. For almost all of human history, nobody thought about fiber. They didn't have to. They just ate plants. Constantly. Roots clawed out of the dirt, tough wild fruit, seeds, stalks. The whole jungle was the menu, and every bite of it came loaded with fiber. Every meal was a pile of fiber they never even had a name for. To see how much, Justin went looking for a tribe that still eats the old way. He found the Hadza in Tanzania, one of the last groups of humans on Earth who still hunt and gather every single meal. No farms, no stores. Their days run on wild tubers, hauled straight out of the ground, stringy baobab fruit, handfuls of berries, honey off the comb, food that's mostly fiber and grit, the kind of eating your body was actually built for. And when Justin added up all that fiber, the number was almost cartoonish, over 100 grams a day, some days closer to 150. That's the fiber in about 50 bowls of Cheerios. 50. Nobody is doing that on purpose. But the fiber number wasn't the surprising part. When Justin looked inside the Hadza, right inside their guts, he found a garden. Hundreds of different kinds of tiny living things, crowded and thriving. A garden far richer and wilder than anything left in a modern gut. A whole hidden wilderness, alive in the dark. And the one thing keeping it alive was the fiber. Here's why that fiber matters so much. The part of a plant your body can't digest doesn't go to waste. It travels all the way down to the very end of your gut. The one stretch nothing else reaches, because everything with actual calories got soaked up higher along the line. And that is exactly where the trillions of little tenants live. Fiber is the only food that makes it all the way down to their table. So over millions of years, they evolved to run on it. On fiber, and almost nothing but fiber. You eat the plant, they eat the fiber. Everybody wins. That's the machine. And it's humming inside you at this exact moment. The stringy stuff you scrape off your plate and wave away as roughage, that was the only meal a trillion living things down there were ever gonna get. Feed them fiber today, the garden grows. That's what your ancestor was doing every time she gnawed a root she could barely chew. She wasn't only feeding herself, she was feeding them, one mouthful of fiber at a time. So what happens when you stop? Justin and his wife Erica, also a scientist at Stanford, decided to find out. So they built an experiment. They took mice, and they gave those mice a human gut garden, the same swarm of tiny tenants you carry. Then they split them. Half kept eating fiber. The other half got almost no fiber at all. In plain terms, they put one group of mice on the modern human diet, the convenient one. Within a couple of weeks, the low-fiber guts came apart. The garden thinned. Whole kinds of bacteria crashed to almost nothing, unfed and dying off. That part they expected. Starve the tenants suffer. But here's the part nobody saw coming. They put those same mice back on a full fiber diet to see if the garden would grow back. And most of it did, except about a third of the species never returned. They were simply gone, not hiding, not dormant, just gone from a gut that had started the experiment looking a lot like yours. And it got worse down the family line, because a mother hands her gut garden to her babies. So the Sonnenbergs bred 4 generations of low-fiber mice, each one inheriting a thinner garden than the last. By the 4th generation, 2/3 of the original kinds of bacteria had vanished completely, and no amount of fiber could bring them back. The only thing that worked was transplanting the missing tenants back in from the gut of a mouse that had never stopped eating fiber. Sit with that for a second. This wasn't a diet. This was extinction. Species dying out for good, inside a living body, just from eating the way you eat. and each generation handed the next one a slightly emptier gut. Now here's where it stops being about mice. The Sonnenbergs think the same slow vanishing may already have happened to us, not over 4 generations of mice, but over centuries of humans quietly eating less and less fiber, which means the garden you're carrying right now probably isn't the one your great-great-grandmother carried. Hers was fuller. Her mother's was fuller still. Every one of those women ate more fiber in a single day than you'll manage all week. And every generation that ate a little less fiber handed down a slightly emptier gut all the way to you. You didn't lose those tenants. You were born already missing them. And the endpoint of all that? Modern humans, living in a jungle of grocery aisles and drive-thrus, eating barely any fiber, now carry some of the least diverse guts on the entire planet. The Hadza have one of the richest. We have one of the emptiest. It's the same species and the same machine. One tribe kept feeding it fiber, the other forgot it was even there. Look at what you actually ate today. Not the calories, the fiber. That morning bagel, almost no fiber at all. The chicken and white rice at lunch, basically zero. A Costco rotisserie chicken, that trusty $5 dinner. Real food, real protein, and just about no fiber in the whole bird. Stack up one normal modern day, and you land right back at that 15 grams from the start of this video. A tenth of what your ancestor fed her garden without even trying. And here's the quiet part. You're not really starving yourself. You'll feel full. That's the trick of it. You're starving them. The trillions of tenants at the end of your gut who only ever get to eat the fiber you can't digest. Every low-fiber day is a day. The fiber never arrives and the garden goes hungry. String enough of them together, the way we all do, and the garden goes quiet. You made the dumbest trade in your family's history without ever knowing you were making it. A whole living wilderness for a bagel. Picture her one more time, your ancestor by that fire, 40,000 years back, working her jaw on a root so tough it's barely worth the effort. She has no idea why she reaches for the fibrous stuff. She just does. And deep in her gut, a garden roars. Loud, crowded, alive, hundreds of species strong. She isn't eating for herself. She's feeding a wilderness she'll never see, and one day she'll hand it down, still thriving, to a child. You were never the one who needed the fiber. The garden inside you was, and you've been quietly letting it starve. Every plant you eat, every bean, every apple, every scrap of fiber and roughage you'd happily skip, that's you doing the exact thing she did by that fire. Feeding something you'll never meet. A garden your family carried for 40,000 years and handed down to you, still down there, still waiting. Og's Tale of Cavemen and Belly Gardens is satire from a make-believe jungle. Please do not sue Og. So take a good look at what you ate today. Was there a single plant anywhere in it? Tell Og down below. He's counting for the whole tribe.